Oh, holy goodness. Here we are again for episode 12 of On the Bench with Beeks. I'm your humble host, Mr. Cody Beekman. I'm also joined by Crisscross Applesauce Moormeyer
Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
and Mr. One Man Banders, Keith Zanders.
Hello, everyone.
Today's a special episode. Today we have the Clash of the Titans. We have the boys Brandon and Ryan from the Hockey Minute. Boys, thank you guys so much for coming on. Say what's up to the people out there.
Hey, what's going on, man? Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's like Jay-Z and Kanye coming together right now.
For real. It's
We're the Leasty boys.
yeah. Bring it down. Let's go. Def Jam concert right now. East versus West. No. So boys, we're so stoked to have you on here. I mean, you guys were nice enough to bring me on, and obviously we gotta come back and throw you guys on. How you guys been out in Cougar way?
Man, it's been beautiful out here. I mean, really, it's just making the best we can of the situation, but we're lucky that we live in BC, right? So the weather's been kind of turning into summer lately, and everybody's been getting out. And I mean, if you weren't looking at the news, you wouldn't know what was going on. It seems like everybody's kind of going about their regular business, which is something I'm 100% ready for. So it's been awesome.
I think we can all agree about that. I mean, around here, it's sun shining, people out, getting around. I mean, you never think that anything ever happened.
Oh, and hockey's back today. I mean, what a day. What a day.
God, it's a good day. Good day in hockey history.
Huge stuff coming out about that, and it's actually really fortuitous that we get you on today so we can actually talk about it. So let's get right into it. Yeah, I mean, Gary Bettman said there will be hockey this year. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, I mean, it's excitement,
Oh man,
right?
I mean, oh sorry, Ryan, go. Yeah.
It's excitement.
One at a time, boys. One at a time.
We're trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's exciting, and I think that's what every hockey fan has wanted. But on top of that, you got to think too, it's such a great chance for the NHL to stand apart, right? NBA and MLB are still shut down, trying to figure things out. So I think we're going to gain a lot of new fans this way, and I know for you guys, your Avs are going to be cooking too. So I'm sure all of Denver is pretty pumped right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were flying pretty high down that last stretch, so it's awesome to see them come back, and I know Brandon's stoked because he doesn't have to go through that like will they or won't they with the Canucks actually making a presence in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. It honestly going into the end of the year there, I was not feeling super hopeful about the Canucks' chances. They were sliding, and the way that Minnie was coming on and all these other teams were pressing, I wasn't feeling so good about it. So, I mean, now everybody's got a bit of a reset, right? I don't think anybody's feeling like they're carrying their momentum in. It's just a fresh start for everybody. So yeah, absolutely pumped for the Canucks.
Hands all up in the air. So, well, you guys know how we do things. We got a hockey day in history, and so I'm gonna put you guys' knowledge to the test. You guys got any hockey days in history?
Oh, you want me to kick us off? Jesus Christ!
It was the long pause for Ryan.
Yeah. I'm just learning how to read. So May 28th, 1992. I thought this was kind of interesting. At 2 coin toss ceremonies held in Pittsburgh, Ottawa won the right to choose first in the upcoming expansion draft, while Tampa Bay won the right to choose first in the upcoming entry draft. Do you guys know who was picked in that entry draft first overall by Tampa, 1992?
1992. I'm gonna say it's either Hobby Boulin or Vinny LeCavalier.
Fuck, you're a little too late there.
I'm gonna have to say Martin St. Louis.
No, he was undrafted, so no.
Yeah, undrafted. Yeah.
What do you got, Keats?
I got nothing. I'm all ears.
Well, it was Roman the Hammer Hammerlick.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, all right.
One of the all-time great names in hockey, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
tell me about it.
Great name in hockey.
All right, let's keep this gravy train rolling.
Yeah, boys. May 28th, 1992. One of my all-time favorite players growing up. I can't say the all-time, but as far as non-Canuck players, this guy absolutely stands above the rest. Mario Lemieux scores his 14th and 15th playoff goals of the year to lead the Penguins to a 3-1 win over the Blackhawks in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Le Magnifique.
Oh,
That's beautiful. All right. I mean, well, Mario always brought it. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, Super
Oh, yeah.
Mario. Love to watch him, the old tapes of him playing and everything.
absolutely.
Growing up too.
Oh, yeah, and he was such a big body, and the way that man could move it was almost ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
See that big mass just pummeling down on you. I'm surprised he didn't score more goals just by running over the tendy. All right, Ross, I think you got one coming up here too.
Oh yeah. Mine's from May 29th, 1996. Joe Sakic scored 2 goals and an assist as an Avalanche won 4-1 over the visiting Red Wings, eliminating Detroit from the playoffs in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. And it was Patrick Waugh's 132nd playoff game to tie Billy Smith's record.
Battling Billy Smith, that's pretty sweet. Keats, you want to go next?
Oh, absolutely. So I'm not going to go too far back. I guess I can kind of even throw in a trivia question before I even, read my.
Taking a trick out
Yeah,
of my book.
yeah,
All
see-
right,
see
let's
if
see what
anyone-
you got.
So, do you guys know? This is kind of more for, I guess, Colorado-based people. Something that happened May 28th in 2003.
May 28th.
May 28th,
In the-
2003.
Yeah, in the around the Colorado Avalanche.
Is that second or third round?
That was wait, no. Didn't Patty retire?
Yep.
That's right.
Oh.
Patrick Wall retirement. There you go.
That's right. May 28th, 2003. Our beloved Patrick Waugh announced his retirement after 18 NHL seasons with Montreal Canadiens, as well as Colorado Avalanche. Waugh retired as NHL's all-time leader with 1,029 regular season games, 551 wins. Let's see here, and 247 Stanley Cup games, 151 playoff victories, and 20 playoff shutouts. Pretty impressive.
Oh, I mean, kind of. I mean.
This man's got a resume. You cannot lie.
All right, so I got one here for you boys. This one actually just happened. Literally just happened. David Pasternak becomes the very first Boston Bruin to win the Rocket Richard Trophy. And now, Brandon, he's got so much disdain for Boston. He just can't even he's just like, oh, well, that's cool.
Who cares? Cool story, bro.
So
Honestly, what I was just thinking about that is it's kind of funny that the first time they win it, they have to split it.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. Seriously, with Ovi.
Ovi, yeah.
And I mean, Ryan's like, of course, Ovi is gonna be number 1 on there. So, this actually comes with a little bit of trivia as well. Who was the last Boston Bruin to score 50 goals in a season?
Cam Neely.
Oh, ding, ding, ding! All right, that's beautiful. I'm fucking proud of you. Normally, I could get these guys on almost everything I got, but that was a quick one. But yeah, old Seabass himself. All right, so going back into this, all right, if you guys have seen the presser, yes, we are going to have hockey. It's going to be the 24-team playoff. Obviously, 12 teams are going to be battling it out in a 5-game series first. So let's start with the West. So we got plenty of teams. Who do you guys think is going to be the dark horse to the real dark horse to rise out of the Western Conference 5-game playoffs? If you guys need a little fresher on all the teams, it's Edmonton Oilers, Chicago Blackhawks, Nashville Predators, Arizona Coyotes, Vancouver Canucks, Minnesota Wild, Calgary, and Winnipeg. Who do you guys got surprisingly coming out of here, and who do you think is just going to, ride straight through it? I'll start with you, Ryan.
I'm going to say the Oilers. Like, I think healthy McDavid, healthy Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, I'm a big fan of him. And I just think that when you have they have the two top scorers. Here's a little piece of history for you guys. It's the first time since Lemieux and Yager that the number 1 and number 2 scorers in the league have played for the same team. So, I mean, we are looking at a team that I think McDavid's getting a little bit pissed off. And when you look at other greats like Crosby, Patrick Kane of their era, they've already got their cup by year 3, year 4. It's Connor's time, man.
All right. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, when I look at the playoffs, I think my kind of mode of thinking is always who can bore everybody to death and make it through, right? And I mean, it doesn't sound very exciting, but it's kind of the way it works for the playoffs. Look at the Devils, right, for years. And I think a team that's modeling that as best they can are the Dallas Stars, and I think they're going to roll through almost everybody. I won't say uncontested. I see a lot of 2-1 and 1-0 victories, but I also don't see them being challenged too aggressively until at least the conference finals.
That's kind of how I look at the Arizona Coyotes too. I mean, all throughout the season, they've been winning games, but it hasn't been exciting hockey or anything. But they're still winning games, and I think they have the potential to steal at least a series or two. So, and I mean they're good at actually pressuring the puck and just playing boring hockey, but you still win. What about you, Keats? What about you, Ross? What do you guys think?
Well, I would have to say possibly Calgary if they kind of get everything together. I mean, they could actually be a contender and just kind of slip in to the playoffs like they did when the Avs went up against them last year. And just be able to kind of just somehow hold their own and get the points and get the goals that they need as well. So. That and as you said, the Coyotes, that's been kind of like an under-the-radar team that nobody expect to come, from where they were, especially getting Kessel and, Taylor Hall. I mean, those are big names, but you just don't know how that's going to just gel with the rest of the team that's already there with Oliver Ekman Larson and all those guys. So, yeah, we'll just see how that goes.
Yeah, it's been working out pretty well for them so far. What about you, Keats? What do you think?
Oh, man, I'm having a hard time with this as I'm looking at all the teams, hard to say. I mean, they're all kind of like, to me, to be honest with you.
He's just got his eyes on the Avs.
Well, I think
But, no.
all three of us do.
Well,
you gotta
at some point you got to be a little biased where we are hosting a fucking podcast.
I mean,
That is true.
what do you guys think? Should I go say Chicago?
oh my God.
Are those guys due
just-
for a comeback, right?
Oh,
It's
God.
been a while.
They've had too many already. They can just sit in the truck, basically.
They can win another couple.
Hey, listen, Keats, I agree, man, because you know what? It's a conspiracy. They're the 12th team. They were the cutoff team. The NHL knows Chicago wins. That's a lot of money coming in.
See, there you go.
Oh yeah, big
We got to
hockey
wake
town.
up, guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, that's exactly it.
Stay woke here, guys.
Even
Okay,
just being
yeah.
on the air, right? They're like one of the top 5 markets, so.
Not only are they podcasters, but they sniff out the underlines of the NHL.
Hey, man, we all got
Hey.
we all got to wear our tinfoil hats sometimes here.
Ye-
Yeah, you
And they are
should hear our
looking at
show
it.
before and after we record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, hell yeah! All right, well let's look into the Eastern Conference. I mean, all the qualifying round teams follow as Pittsburgh Penguins, Montreal Canadiens, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll go back to you, Ryan. What's up, bud?
Well, none of this matters because the Capitals are going to win, but I'll answer your question. You know what? I hate to say it, but I think Toronto, they got such high-powered offense, and their defense is going to be healthy. Frederick Anderson's a great goaltender, and they're going up against a Columbus team that has had a nice stretch of magic here, but I just don't think that they're going to get the job done. I don't think they're going to have a repeat of last year, so I think looking at all those qualifying round teams, Toronto, on paper anyways, is the best.
No, yeah, I could see it. Well, that's remains to be seen if they meet up with the Boston Bruins again for the millionth time. What about you, Brandon? What you got, man?
It's just funny you mentioned the Bruins. That's what I wanted to mention for Toronto is they're all just so grateful they didn't draw the Bruins and however this lined up, right? They're like, oh, thank Christ, we have a chance of making it through the first round. Although if it looks like they're going to line up against the Rangers, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see, Shesterkin or just some random Maple Leafs luck happen that ends up kicking them out of the first round, much to my delight. But as far as my pick to make it through, I think it has to be the Hurricanes. I think looking in the East, they're one of the most well-rounded teams. Their defense is incredible. They got a good tandem in net. They have a good balance of forward youth and like a veteran core that can carry him. I think there's going to be almost no obstacle that can stop the Hurricanes as long as they can roll even remotely like they've been doing all year.
And you know what? I gotta agree. That was gonna be my pick. I mean, Carolina, they know they've been the underdog pretty much the last couple times they've been in the playoffs, and they can actually. Keats is nodding his head too.
I'm nodding my head. I was gonna say Carolina too. Yeah.
So
perfect.
Then in this case, you know what? I'm gonna have to I'll change my pick. You know, the one I'm looking at right now that I think this series is going to be a battle is New York Islanders versus Florida Panthers.
Oh, yeah. You got Bob coming in as a goaltender for the Florida Panthers, dude. Oh, yeah.
Well, and I mean, Florida's got a pretty hot set of forwards, and going against the New York Islanders, just shut down play. It's going to be an interesting one. See if the Panthers can overcome the shutdown D, or the Islanders just blank them. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. But I would say the New York Islanders could probably squeeze a few out and really make a splash.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. There's a few teams on this list, man. I mean, for personal reasons too. Obviously, I wouldn't shy away from Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Those
no.
guys have, showed it time in, that they have what it takes. They have the players. Plus, it's cool to see Teddy do something with those guys.
Of course.
Former Latvian, got to support him. But then again, I'd love to see Columbus. How cool it would be.
Oh, yeah. Your boy Merzlikins
Yeah.
going somewhere, buddy.
Always.
Yeah, but that's just picking favorite players and stuff.
Well, and I mean, we've said this till we're blue in the face. I mean, all these teams are going to be well rested and healed up. So we're going to be seeing a lot of eventually we're going to be seeing a lot of high power hockey.
Oh, yeah. And then Brandon and Ryan, you guys can agree with me. I mean, you're going to see probably the best playoff hockey with everybody being healthy that we've seen in a while. And it's going to be fun. It's really going to be fun.
I think it'll take them a little bit to kind of skate the rust off. But you're right. I mean, with all the guys, I mean, I saw Tarasenko in St. Louis, right? Was supposed to come back in March from a torn labrum or something, and now they said he's essentially been given 9 months to recover. That's going to be huge for him.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be way big, especially for the Blues if they want to make a big, run at it again.
See, I'm kind of with Ryan on all this too. I don't think we should be super stoked right off the bat because, like Ryan said, these guys will probably take quite a bit of time to skate the rust off of them. I don't think it's going to be as exciting right off the bat.
No.
Just because of how much time they had off, and
Right.
who knows in what physical ability these guys are in. I mean, I know they're gonna do their camp stuff, but how long was the camp? Like 4 weeks or something like that?
I think they're looking at a 3-week training
Three-
camp right now.
And let's be honest, is that enough time?
Well, and
I mean, I don't know. Is it?
Well, I don't know, and who knows if they've actually been if they've been actually like keeping up with the regimens at home or anything.
Well, that's
like
what I'm
that,
saying.
You know, That
it's
depends.
one thing.
Ryan's
it's like
just over here just shaking his head. They've been eating donuts and having
I can't-
beers.
no, but it's the honest to God truth, and not to bash on anyone but it's like, yeah, it's like what we see is what we see on like Instagram and stuff, and it's one of those like, oh yeah, release a quick, look, I'm running, I'm working out, check this out, and then he goes back, and drinks his 6-pack and plays Call of Duty. We don't know. I mean, it's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we've seen any kind of hockey, though, man. I could watch warm-ups and I'd be busting, right? I'm stoked just to see anything.
Well, yeah, just to have a full healthy team out there for whoever you are or whoever you cheer for is just, as I said, it's just a way to just have a shot in the arm to start off a good hockey playoff, though.
No, absolutely.
It's going to draw in fans, as you boys said over there from the Hockey Minute, and I mean, it's a prime opportunity for the NHL to grow as a sport, honestly, and even get other people into it, the women's hockey leagues and all of that too.
Where do you guys see your abs going, though? I want to know. Unbiased, though. Where's the abs?
Oh, well, that's exact. Well, I was just about to ask that. So we'll go back through one more time. What do you guys see who do you guys see in the finals, Ryan?
From the East or the West? Or both?
Finals,
The Stanley Cup
the Stanley Cup finals.
I got to stick with my Washington Capitals. But out of the West, man, I mean, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast, like Colorado is, I think that they're a better team up top, like forward wise, than St. Louis. And St. Louis, they're the defending champs, and they've got a good all around squad. But I mean, Nathan McKinnon's a top 5 player in the league, and I feel like he's so driven right now to just be the best player in the world that he's the kind of guy, he puts the team on his back. We saw it last year against the Flames in that first round. He lit it up. So I'm going to say it's going to be a final of Avalanche versus Capitals, Caps in 6.
Oh, buddy,
Ooh.
that'd be a high energy final right there. What about you, Brandy?
I'm going with a rematch of last year, actually. I'm thinking St. Louis and Boston coming at it again. Especially, I mean, the only
You just
real
wanna
issue
see
that
Boston lose again, don't you?
I fucking love Marchand crying. Honestly, that was the wallpaper on my phone for like a good 6 months, man. Like,
Yeah.
so I'd be stoked to see that again. And like with St. Louis, I think the only real issue for teams trying to repeat is the wear and tear year over year, and they've completely been able to bypass that. So they've got a huge advantage to do something that's fairly historic in the modern era.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. What do you think, Ross?
Well, God, that's kind of hard because I don't want to be a homer or anything like that. But the Avs they're just deep. They're as Ryan said, they're just like a very just forward-driven team. They've got a decent back end. They just need to keep their nose to the grindstone and not let them get a bunch of cheap plays and get ahead, cheap bounces and everything like that. But I mean, I could see either, Colorado and it could be either Boston, depending on how they play. They're rough and tumble, high school, but they can be a high scoring team. They have guys that can score. So, I'd have to say probably, Colorado.
You better hope that it's not Boston, though, because you guys are going to be without your number 2 center if it's Boston, just so you know.
I think we'll be able to manage.
Yeah, easy there, Brandon.
Hey,
what
that
do
was
you
Ryan. Don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah,
All Canadians look the same, though. It's okay.
yeah, it's that twang.
We
right,
forgot
that's
to
how
bring
we
our
roll.
interpreter for Ross.
Oh yeah, seriously, yeah.
Yeah, that you should have.
All right, Keitzer, what do you got, bud?
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna have to go with Avs, as one of the teams, because you gotta rep the local team. But I'm gonna say Philadelphia. I think those guys are gonna come in hot and kind of take care of all these other guys, and do their thing and make it to the finals with the Avs.
Philly's one of those sneaky teams that could most likely do that to you. So I wouldn't mind seeing that.
And then honestly, I'd love to see it. I mean, when was the last time you've seen Philadelphia get even near something like that?
2010.
It was one of the last times that 2010 when the
2010 is that what it
when
was?
The Hawks won it.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
because it was the mystery goal that they
the
didn't think that
goal.
went in, and like Kane was just going
Oh,
nuts.
that's right. That's
And,
right. Yeah.
Everybody else was like, "What the fuck's going on?
It's-
Did he just win?"
It's all It's all.
I
coming. But
hope.
yeah, regardless,
No, go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
No. I was just saying that it would just be cool to see.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hope that if the Flyers win, I hope like during the presentation, Bettman comes out and it's like Giroux starts skating forward to accept it. Gritty comes out of nowhere, just snags the cup, just does a lap without.
Just comes down
Yeah.
the rope and just ties the
Like
rope
Mission
onto it and
Impossible
just
style, just like
Oh,
just
that'd
right
be-
when Giroux lifts it, Gritty comes down from the rafters, takes the cup, and it's just gone. It's just a fucking Gritty show from here on.
They would do some shiesty ass shit like
Oh,
that.
that would be
Guaranteed.
the
It's
great-
Philly, dude.
Yeah, that would be the gritty thing to do for sure. Well, sweet. I like the predictions. They look pretty good. So let's get into you guys. The hockey minute. Let's talk about your guys' backgrounds. Like where you came from, and like how'd you boys got into hockey, and how'd you eventually decide to make this podcast?
Well, it's actually pretty boring. I mean, we were on the hockey subreddit, and our producer Matt reached out and asked if anybody was interested in coming together and trying to put a hockey podcast together. This was kind of more towards the start of all this COVID stuff, and we came together pretty fast. There's 5 of us that all got together and hopped on a conference call, and within a couple of weeks we had our first episode out. What's kind of neat about it, though, is, I mean, all of us met on Reddit, so we could have been fucking anywhere in the world, obviously, and Ryan and I are maybe 15 minutes apart driving. Matt and one of our other writers, Jules, they're about the same if there were no traffic in New York, which I think has probably never happened. And then one of our other guys is Canadian. But I mean, it's a neat kind of good mix. We managed to get everybody on the same page, and we're super stoked to be going. And actually, I feel like we're starting to build some really good momentum. We've only been doing it for a couple of months, but I feel like we're kind of finding our stride here. So yeah.
Well, I mean, already 1,000 listens. That's huge. So I gotta ask you. So did you and Ryan not even know each other before this?
No, never, man.
Huh. Well, you guys got a lot of really good chemistry and stuff. Like I would think you guys have been buddies for like a real long time.
Well,
Yeah, it's the trick is that most Western Canadians are just totally interchangeable. So we could go on a road trip and I'd hop out and somebody else would hop in. Ryan wouldn't notice for about 30 miles. It's kind of the way we go.
Sorry. I guess that.
well, I mean, if you go back and listen to our first few episodes, like we were trying to figure it out, like what our chemistry was. And I've never met Brandon. He tells me, I got a wife and 2 kids. I'm thinking, oh, okay, I got to watch what I say. And then he starts, Beeks, this, he's making jokes about scooping cum out of his belly button. So, I mean, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, I can gel with this guy just fine. So, I mean, not that way, you fucking weirdos, but yeah, no, it's been good, man. It's been exciting to just kind of keep sane during this whole pandemic too, and just have something to look forward to. And obviously it's led us to, people like you 3. I mean, and I never would have found the time to chat with an Avs fan, but now we got the podcast, and it's a nice way to reach out to people too. So it's been good.
I couldn't agree more. And let me just say that Louis C.K. comment took me completely off my fucking toes. That was just like that. That was insane. I was just like, oh, well, all right, what the fuck, man?
What am I walking onto on this
Coming
podcast?
out of her belly button, like. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say right now, like, I think that's like the first thing I heard about Louis C.K. since all that fucking drama happened.
Right.
So So just to hear that, I was just like, oh, and I thought about saying something, and then Brandon, you just dropped that shit. I'm like, oh my god. So what, what's your hockey backgrounds like? Because I know you guys have talked about, playing a whole bunch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like when did you start? What what players and kind of inspired you to kind of start? I guess.
yeah, I mean, I started when I was like 5 years old. Joe Sakic was my favorite player growing up. He's from Burnaby, and that's about half an hour from where I live. And I mean, at the time too, he was one of the biggest stars in the league, and so that was kind of. I mean, I just tried to play like him. I chose to be a winger because I didn't really want to play defense, but Sakic was the guy. He used his curve. I tried to skate like him, shoot like him, and then over time, I was playing AAA hockey when Ovechkin came in the league, and he was like, the tinted visor and the flashy skates and the flashy gear, and I was like, this is my guy. And this might be treasonous to say. I don't know. Trudeau's secret police might show up at my door, but I wasn't a Crosby fan, man. It was that lockout year. They pumped Crosby so much that I got tired of hearing about him, and I was just like, yeah. I mean, and I don't really think McDavid had as much exposure because there was still other things to talk about in hockey. But they talked about Crosby. It was literally the guy would go, he'd be training in some obscure rink in Nova Scotia, and it was like we had around the clock coverage on it. So out of spite, I chose to be an Ovechkin fan, but I mean, it's worked out well for me and two legends, obviously, but Ovechkin got his cup and I can die happy.
There you go. I mean, yeah, I got to agree with that Crosby statement. I mean, everybody just thinks the sun shines right out of that guy's butthole, man. I swear. I can't handle it. What about you, Brandon? What about you, buddy?
Well, my hockey story isn't exactly as exciting as Ryan's. I didn't play as a kid. My first hockey memories are actually of Pavel Bure, the kind of the 91-92 season, and just him cruising up and down in a way that almost looked inhuman compared to everybody else, and that was honestly it for me for hockey. I couldn't get enough of it from there. I'm not sure what your guys' vintage is or if you would have seen this, but a neat thing about Pavel Bure that people might not know is that he was just a thick guy. Like he wasn't a skinny little Russian kid. He was probably one of the most like bigger, more muscular guys on the team aside from like Gino Ojic or anything like that. So if you go on YouTube and look up Pavel Bure elbows Shane Churla, it's from when they played, I think it was Dallas in like the 93, 94 in that era. And Bure was just sick of getting pushed around by these guys, and he went end to end and fucking flying elbowed the guy on the side of the head and then acted like nothing happened. And it's just you don't see skill guys do that, and it's just I love that mix of probably the most electric player in the league mixed with a little bit of grit and fuck you attitude, and that's just I don't know, that was enough to get me fired up for hockey. I didn't actually play hockey until I moved up to the Arctic in 2007. And then I ended up coming back to Vancouver and buying some gear and getting up there and renting a rink and kind of learning a little bit there. And a bit of an embarrassing story is I rented a rink up there for an hour for like $110. It's actually cheaper to get ice where I was living in the Arctic than it is in Vancouver. And I'm trying to learn how to skate, right? I got all my gear on. I'm fucking around out there and embarrassing my Canadian heritage, but luckily nobody's watching. And then off to the side of the ice, there's these two little like 8 and 9-year-old boys with their gear on, just looking at me like sad puppy, like please let me on the ice, please let me on the ice. It's like, oh fuck, all right, fine, we can come on. Yeah, exactly. Just dummy both of them, start jerseying them. No, these fucking kids came on and they're like, all right, we should play some shinny, and it's like, yeah, we can do that. I can try. And these two kids just skated fucking circles around me, man. It was like 30 minutes of them trying not to laugh as I was falling on my ass. And it's like, man, I guess it's not in the cards for like a walk-on undrafted pick for the Canucks, but that's okay. I'll keep, I think podcasting may be more in my future. So I think that's when I started to look more towards the rafters.
Shoot for the moon still. It's all right. You'll still land among the stars is whatever that saying says. So you're good. You're good.
That's it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Ryan, you got any embarrassing stories you want to talk about?
I mean, Man, nothing too embarrassing like getting lit up by a couple of 8-year-olds when I was 40, but I think you know what I when I was playing AAA hockey, you guys might know who this guy is, Stefan Elliott. He was an Avs pick years ago, and
Oh yeah, absolutely.
so I was playing a team that had Stefan Elliott and Evander Kane were their top 2 players, and I remember I was a healthy scratch because I knew I had made the team. So they were trying to pick between a couple other guys. So they sit me out. This team goes out. It was a team from Vancouver, and they beat us 16-0, right? And so we get back into the room, and the coach is furious. He's like, that was the most pathetic fucking thing I've ever seen. Whatever. Keep in mind, guys, I'm like at this age, I'm 15. I'm probably about 5'5" and like 130 pounds. And he's screaming at the team. And he's like, nobody threw a hit. And he's like, looks at me. He's like, Ryan. He's like, you're going in next game. He's like, are you gonna hit somebody? And I was like, fuck no. Like, made a glass over here. But I shook I'm like, oh yeah, coach. No, I'll get him next time. And the only thing when we played that team again is that I did blow up Stefan Elliott coming around. He was coming around the one side of the net. I came around the other side, blew him up. And then I promptly got sat for the rest of the game because I was like a -8. So, but yeah, I don't know. I know Keats has I know what you mean, Keats. I know what it's like to get lit up and just be way out of your weight class. So.
Oh God, man, tell me about it. I still get nightmares.
So do I.
I mean, where's my defense? Oh, sweetheart, Keats, you're not 8 years old anymore. It's all right.
You're a firefighter now. It's all right. You're in bed.
Oh God, yeah, right.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, I could probably go ahead and guess this, Ryan. The reason why you're a Washington Caps fan is mainly Ovechkin. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, kind of. I liked Jeff Halpern actually back in the day because he was an undrafted captain. So, yeah, I didn't mind the Caps. I was a Canucks fan for a long time, but then that lockout hit, and then it was the Ovi train from there on out.
Oh, there we go. I gotta ask Brandon about this. Todd Bertuzzi.
Man.
Oh God.
Todd Bertuzzi is still one of my top 5 favorite players of all time. Man, he had a 3-year stretch.
Go sit in the truck. Get out.
He had a 3-year stretch where he looked unstoppable, man. You've all seen the highlights, right? Where he's got one hand on the stick and he's holding off the other guy like he's a toddler when he walks to the net. He was incredible. The whole Moore issue and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we all know how that turned out and what a shitty situation that was. But if you just look at the player himself, he was just unreal.
I mean, I really had no problems with him before that, but yeah, that Steve Moore, it was dicey for sure.
Did you guys hear that interview with Brad May though, just recently?
Oh yeah, that was
on Cam Jansen's podcast. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard a little bit. He's like, I've got no respect for Steve Moore. None.
Oh, he was leaving receipts with his comments on Steve Moore. I was surprised.
Yeah,
That shocks me. Holy shit.
Oh, hey Ross, I'll send you the fucking link because it was pretty hectic, man. He was laying into him.
Oh God, I mean, Bertuzzi ended his career. I mean, how can you go up one side and down the other on a guy that's not even playing hockey? That was actually a damn good hockey player too.
And I gotta say, I know, from what I understand, it was from a hit that Moore had just put on Naslund, which took him out for a couple games. For a bit now.
He took him out for a while. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was an elbow to the head.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, obviously retaliation's one thing, but it's just a little too far, if you ask me.
That's almost on, like, McSorley rounds or whatnot, going after Brashear. After Brashear was getting cheeky with him.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
All right, I just had to pop that in there real quick.
No, but-
Just-
No.
But
No, it's
remember,
good.
guys, Brad May played for the Colorado Avalanche
Yeah.
afterwards. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, that's funny actually. Like there's a TSN 1040 who's our local sports radio station here. They had Brad May on, I think it was last year, and he was actually going on about all that same stuff and how awkward it was to be traded to Colorado and how he managed to integrate himself into the locker room after a little while and all that kind of stuff. But like man, imagine that. It was a year after, right? I think he played with the Canucks one more year after the Steve Moore incident, and then he signed as a free agent with Colorado. I'm fairly certain.
yeah.
Yeah, because all the stuff was still under investigation at that time, and all the
That
trials
lasted
and
years.
everything,
Yeah,
so-
years.
Yeah, so that not it's not a big elephant in the room by all means.
You know what's crazy with that is too. I actually met him when he played for the Avs,
Brad May.
and he was the nicest freaking dude.
Yep.
I talked to him for like 15, 20 minutes.
Really?
He was just like, I was young, but he's like, "Oh, you play too?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Cool. What kind of gear do you like?" And we talked about like sticks and like all this shit, and he was like into it. I don't know if he was just wasted, 'cause he was one of those like. But he was the friendliest dude ever, and I'm like, "Holy shit, this guy's not bad at all."
Definitely don't like you definitely don't sound like the guy that you've been talking we've been hearing about. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was weird. Whole
Oh.
weird situation.
Well, boys, you want to chime in on here? Like, what do you got up in your minds? Let's ask these guys some questions. Let's test this out. Let's test out
all right.
their metal.
Well, I mean, you kind of sent them a few questions, and a few of them are, I mean, you guys have kind of gone through the rounds, but, I mean, if your team ever gets knocked out, do you ever have, like, because I know I do, just watching hockey in general, just have, like, your second and your third teams and all that you just watch, that you just have, like, not like a special place in your heart or anything by all means, but that you just enjoy the club or the franchise and how they treat their players, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's a bit special. My great uncle was Ad McDonald. He died about a year and a half ago, but he was the first captain of the Winnipeg Jets and the first captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so I mean, he played for the Jets for years, but I generally follow the Jets because that's where my dad's family is all from out there and stuff. So they've been my number 2 team ever since they've came home. But I mean, there's generally I'm a bit of a hockey nerd, I guess you could say. Whereas when the playoffs are on, I'll kind of watch and see who I think is the most entertaining to watch. Like this year, I kind of have a feeling I'm probably going to track Carolina pretty closely because you kind of have to pick and choose, right? You can't. There's no way you can watch every game, even if you didn't sleep. There's just not enough time. So yeah, I'll track the Jets pretty tight, but I've got a soft spot for Carolina. I just love the way they move the puck from the D.
Oh yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, man, I don't really have a second team, but usually if the Caps get knocked out, then it's like I'll keep watching, and then if by the time the finals rolls around, there's always like the narratives, right? It's like last year it was David Backes, longtime Blues captain, is now on the Bruins, and he's playing his old team, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't really cheer for like the Bruins or the Blackhawks or anything like that because they've had their time, but. I mean, out here, I do have a soft spot, I guess, for Vancouver, but at the same time, just the fucking fan base in Vancouver is just so toxic and
The worst.
Really?
So you remember the Canucks 10 years ago were one of the best teams in the league, and I worked with a guy that he hated Luongo. He thought Luongo was the worst goalie in the league. And gold medal winning Vezina finalist, and he was just, they gotta get rid of him. And in games, what was it, Brandon? Game 7, they lost like 8-0 or something like that in the Cup final.
4-0, yeah.
4-0, same thing. But either way,
It's like a fish.
either way, this guy was
He's just twisting the knife. It's okay. He fucking knows it's 4-0.
yeah, but either way, like this guy was just, he's like, yeah, Luongo, he blew it. I'm like, dude, they had the Art Ross winning Sedins, like they couldn't score a goal, like all that kind of stuff. And obviously, as you guys know too, they lose that series, and like the city gets lit on fire too. So,
Oh, well, and isn't that the second time in history too that they've actually done that for the?
yeah,
the
they're
Canucks?
2 for 3 on Cup finals.
Yeah, they were gonna riot no matter what, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver was coming down either way.
Oh yeah, people were ready to riot, man. They're like, "Fuck, we did this in '94. Let's do it again."
Well, it's almost like the White Castle. Let's burn this mother to the ground, poop.
Hey, that's
That's
why they made weed legal in Canada. It was just because they knew if the Canucks ever made it again, they're like, hopefully people will just be chilled out.
Oh, fair.
Oh my lord. So you guys are on YouTube. You guys are going to be on YouTube here soon, right?
We already are, yeah. Full episodes.
Oh, really? So basically, give us a rundown about that. How, like, what'd you decide? Why'd you decide to go to the video? And I mean, what can we expect from here on out?
So we're not actually on video on YouTube. We just post the podcast episodes there with some visuals and stuff. I think in the future we're going to be looking towards that. I think we might be getting into some green screen and that kind of stuff. My wife's an art teacher and a photographer and stuff, so we kind of have access to a lot of those things. So maybe once we're gathering a little more and all that kind of stuff, we can get it set up and actually post some video to YouTube. But as it stands right now, we just do the podcast episodes with some funny memes and pictures and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's right. Right on. So eventually we'll get to see your lovely faces on every podcast.
Well, that's actually why we haven't yet, is because Brandon's wife was like, no fucking way am I letting my handsome husband just be seen by the world. So we're working on that, though. We're trying to get her there to just allow that to happen.
Yeah.
A face only a mother can love, eh?
I'm actually trying to crowdsource some hair plugs before we go live, so if
Hey,
you guys
why
want
not?
to chip
Yeah.
in, that'd be all right.
Hey, I can see it, man. There's a little thinness up top. That's all right.
Oh,
though.
buddy, yeah, exactly. It's a light dusting of hair. It's enough to let you know that I had some at one point.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, well, just keep the dream alive. We'll, maybe we'll do like a crowdfund.
Exactly.
Like
How would it be like
Kickstarter
Ally
for some hair
Afraidy,
plugs.
right, with the bald skullet?
Yeah. Oh, ooh, there we go.
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, boys, this has been so much fun. Thank you guys so much for doing this. You guys have any shout outs you want to throw out real quick?
I mean, not really. I mean, everything went all good.
Ryan? Why, Ryan?
Oh, I was just going to say, for the listeners on this great podcast, if you haven't heard of us, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, Overcast. You can leave us voicemails if you really hate us, and we'll play it on the podcast.
Please.
And I mean, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at the Hockey Minute too. You can always catch us there as well. So, and Beeks, fellas, we appreciate this, man. I mean, this is pretty cool. So we're gonna get Keats on soon. We're gonna get Ross on soon as well to break down the Avs first round matchup, whoever they end up playing. So looking forward to having the rest of the squad on. And you guys are having some success. I mean, Jan Heda. We got to follow Jan Heda. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's just a neighbor, you know.
Yeah. We it's all right. We talk to him all the time. It's no big deal or anything. No.
It's like Band-Aid brand. He's just a household name. He's just here all the time. It's just,
Hey, we did put an episode in between you guys, so.
Perfect.
So
That's
this
why
is
we need a
all
little bit of
yours. This is
buffer.
all
Well, hey,
yours.
who do you have on
You
next
got-
week?
you know.
Because if you say like Peter Forsberg, this has never seen the light of day, this interview. So
Oh yeah. Like Fopo would come on
Fopo.
this, yeah. Like come to some dingy ass garage in Thornton, Colorado. Like yeah, all the way from freaking Sweden. That'd be. I don't know. We got a few people coming on. I know my buddy. He's big into the sled hockey scene, and I think we're gonna try to get him on. And we got a couple people coming up, but yeah, we're just really stoked we finally got you guys on because. I mean, just like I think I speak for the boys, and I know they can speak too. I think we dig we dig what you guys do, and it was really nice of you guys to let me come on and chat shit. So I mean, it was a no-brainer having you guys on.
well, I mean, it was easy. You just ask all the per usual, just fire off the hip questions, But we'll just follow up on that, and yeah, I mean, we just enjoyed having you guys on, and we had a good time.
Absolutely, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having us.
Oh, of course, man. Well, that's gonna be it for us today. I just want to thank everybody who's listening out there. What else, boys?
I think that puts the cherry on top.
All right, there we go. The cherries on top. You guys all have a good time. Hey, do.
Later, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Till next time.